ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ 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 ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। 184 ਜੋਨ ਸਬਾਈ, ਮਾਨਸ ਕੋ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਦੀ ਵਡਿਆਈ। ਇਸ ਪੌੜੀ ਤੇ ਜੋ ਨਰ ਚੂਕੈ, ਸੋ ਆਏ ਜਾਏ ਦੁਖ ਪਾਏਂਦਾ। Maharaj is saying there are 8.4 million species in this world. 8.4 million. 184 ਜੋਨ ਸਬਾਈ, in total 8.4 million. ਮਾਨਸ ਕੋ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਦੀ ਵਡਿਆਈ। But the most greatest of all these species, the mankind has been given a glory, a greatness. इस पौड़ी ते जो नर चूकै सो आए जाए दुख पाएंदा. But when a mind reaches Pai Parapat Manuk Dehuriya, when mind get this physical body, human body, and if it doesn't do what he's supposed to do, Pai Parapat Manuk Dehuriya, Govind Milan ki eh teri bariya, the purpose of the life is to meet Vaheguru, then what happens? Is podi te je nar chuka, so aaye jaye dukh paenda. It is gonna go back to the same circle of life and death of 8.4 million Junes. Now, a lot of people, a lot of faiths, they don't believe in reincarnation. And some who do believe in reincarnation, they think when somebody reaches to the human birth, there's no way back. But Maharaj says, no, based on your karams, based on your actions, things will be decided. If you want to stop the cycle of life and death, then you need a naam, you need a shabad. Similarly, Kabir Sahib, on the ninth house in the Rag Gaudi, he's saying, Joon chhad jo jag mein ayo, lagat pavan khasam bisrayo. Joon chhad. Joon as in uni, or as in the worm. Because when we come to the earth, mankind, human mankind, the Uttam June, the greatest of all the species, that's a home mayor, right? But that has been given to us. So that this is the last one, so that we can meet Vaheguru. We should not go back. Reverse gear should not be there. Joon chhad jo jag mein ayo, lagat pavan khasam bisrayo. And then you got this physical body so that you can meet Vaheguru. That's why when you left the womb of the mother, you came to this world. But what happens when we come to this world? Lagat pavan. The word used is pavan. First, the breathing was also happening, but it was happening inside the mother's womb. But now, breathing and food and everything becomes a outside activity, no longer in the mother's womb. First, the baby was connected with the umbilical cord, and through the umbilical cord, all the essentials were given to the baby in the mother's womb. They're no longer there. Now, it got connected with the womb. It got connected with the pavan, as in air, as in breath, outside. And the moment these nostrils are activated, because inside what was happening, it inside the baby was not breathing through the nostrils or through the mouth. Everything was happening through the umbilical cord, all the connections, physical needs, everything was given through the navel, through the nabi. But now it has it has been disconnected. The umbilical cord has been cut. So Maharaj says, जैसी अगन उदर में तैसी बाहर माया माया अगन सब इक्को जेही करता है खेल रचाया. And there in the mother's womb there was a fire there also. What fire was there? And Kabir Sahib will clear that in this Shabad also. Jatragan. That agan, that fire which is used to digest the food in the mother's womb. It was there for the digestion of mother's food. Jaisi agan udar mein, taisi bahar maya. But there was a shield of protection around the body in the mother's womb. And the baby was not harmed because of that fire, because that is the system which Vaheguru has created. Otherwise, there's a lot of heat in the mother's womb, a lot of heat. But if the baby still gets saved, sometimes we hear unfortunate things that baby, there was a miscarriage or something, right? Some unfortunate stuff happens. That baby didn't survive because the karam was that the baby will come in the mother's womb, but it will not be able to come out in this world. Everything is kirpa, Guru Pyareo. We should be thankful to Vaheguru that we were saved. First by Vaheguru Ji when he gave us this human birth. Then inside the mother's womb, he protected us from the Jatar Agan, from that fire. And then when we came out of the mother's womb, he is still protecting us by giving us this swas, by giving us this breath, by giving us this pavan. But what is happening along with this pavan, along with this breath, we started getting thoughts related to the Maya, Rajogun, Tamogun, Sattogun. जैसी अगन उदर में तैसी बाहर माया माया अगन सब एको जेही. Just like there was a fire which was there inside the mother's womb and the child was protected by Vaheguru, that maya which is there in the outside world, it is just like that fire. ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਸੜ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ. We can be burnt in this fire also. We burn actually if you think about it because of our desires. ਅਸੀਂ ਰੋਜ਼ ਸੜਦੇ ਹਾਂ. माया अगन सब इको जेही करता खेल रचाया. This is a game which Vaheguru Ji has started. There is no saving, but we have to go as per the rules. This is a game. We have started playing the game. जातिस पाना ता जमया परिवार भला पाया. And when the baby is born, the child is born, family is very happy. There's a new baby which has come in this world according to the will of Vaheguru. Jatis Pana the Jamaya Parvar Pala Paya. Now, because they get so happy, they say, oh, the baby is so cute, and all sorts of stuff. And that is what Maharaj is talking about. Lagat Pavana Khasam Bisrayo. Khasam as in Vaheguru. When the Pavan is struck, when the breath is there, then the baby has forgotten Vaheguru. Live chudki lagi trishna maya amar vartaya. Live as in the connection to Vaheguru has been now broken. And now what has happened? Because the umbilical cord was cut. Live chudki lagi trishna maya amar vartaya. Now the connection with the maya is more strong than Vaheguru. Now it depends on the parents after that, whether the parents do their duty or not. ए माया जित हर विसरै मोह उपजै पाओ दूजा लाया. Because of this maya, the emotional attachment starts happening. The emotional attachment for the baby starts when the baby, he or she, when the baby mind through the physical body starts drinking the milk of the baby, the breast milk. That's the more. Because as soon as before, what was happening? All the food was given through that umbilical cord in the mother's womb. He or she, the baby he was not asking for the food. Now he had to ask for the food. Baby has to ask by crying. E Maya jit har visra. It has forgotten Vaheguru. Moh upja, emotional attachment is there. Duja Pao comes along. Now the duality comes. Before it was only Vaheguru. Now Duja Pao, duality is there. Now he has to ask for the food from outside also. Kahe Nanak Gur Prasadi Jina level lagi tini viche maya paya. Now Maharaj Guru Amardas Sache Pasha Shabd we were reading along with the Kabir Sahib Shabad. Maharaj is saying, but when the Guru Prasad will happen, the Kirpa will happen, what will happen? Then the baby can get connected back to the Vaheguru. But it all depends on the Guru Prasad, Kirpa, the grace. Kahe Nanak Guru Prasadi jina lev lagi, tini viche maya paya. Then within the Maya, within this Pavan, we can meet Vaheguru. That's why Guru Nanak's house has told us to stay in Maya. You don't have to leave the Maya. Because even if we will leave the Maya, as in if we will leave this physical world and try to go to the wilderness or to the mountains or somewhere peaceful place so that we can get rid of the Maya, we cannot. Because the source of Maya still stays with us. What is the source of Maya? जोन छाड़ जो जग में आयो लागत पवन खसम बिसरायो. There are two things which are coming out of the Vaheguru's mouth. One is Pavan, other is the Naam. That's why together we call it a Pran. Pavan and Naam. Pavan is needed for the physical body so that we can breathe. But as soon as we start breathing, we forget Vaheguru. Lagat Pavan Khasam Bisrayo. Until or unless we connect back to the Naam, we got disconnected, live chudki lagi trishna, the desires comes. But if as soon as we can go in the Sangat, Sangat starts from the parents. That's why the Sujwan parents, the parents with the wisdom of Vaheguru, they'll make sure from the day one, the kid is doing Vah, Guru, Vah, Guru. And I don't know how many of you have experienced this. When you will take the baby in your hand and start doing Vah, Guru, Vah, Guru, just around second month, you will see the baby will sing with you, Vaheguru. This is how the game is. We have to play it well. Lagat Pavana Khasam Bisrayo. Otherwise, the baby will be only connected with the Pavan, with the breath, and it will forget the Khasam, as in the husband Lord, Vaheguru. Jiyara har ke gun gao rahaustuk, central idea. O mind, you have been sent to sing the praises of Vaheguru. Don't forget to sing the praises of Vaheguru. Jiyara har ke guna gao, गर्भ जौन में उर्द तप करता तो जठर अगन में रहता. Same thing which we discussed. In the Garab zone, when the baby was in the mother's womb, Garab zone mein urd tap karta. The baby was upside down in the womb, in the urd, tap karta. You know, in the old days, especially in the Treta Yug, in the Sat Yug, and somewhere in the Dwapar Yug also, the bhakti was done by doing the tap. How the tap? Tap as in giving a problem to your physical body. They used to be upside down. Head the feet is up, the head is down. And they used to do the simran like that. I remember Vaheguru through the physical postures. In Kali Yuga, Naam has been so important that if even somebody doesn't matter what the physical posture is, if they connect with the Naam, with the Shabad, they can meet Vaheguru. But inside the Garab, inside the Udar, inside the Udar, when we do the tap tap, inside the mother's womb, Urd tap karta. Urd tap as in, it is upside down, same way as the yogis used to do. Why? Because in the mother's womb, the baby is always, the head is there and the legs are up. When the baby comes out of the mother's womb, the head comes first. Put on that. कहते गर्भ जोन में उर्द तप करता, तो जठर अगन में रहता. And with the Vaiguruji's kripa, that fire which is used for the digestion, the baby is saved by the outer shell. With Vaiguruji's kripa, with the grace of Vaiguru. So Jathar agan mein rehta, inside the belly of mother, the baby is there. And Vaiguruji is saving the baby there also. Lakh चौरासी जोन प्रम आयो, अब के छूट के ठौर न फायो. Maharaj says, remember this, don't forget that we all came in this world by going through 8.4 million species. 84 लाख जोन भोग के आए हैं ਅਸੀਂ गुरु प्यारियो. लाख 84 जोन प्रम आयो. We were in the doubt. We were wandering in 8.4 million species. किन्ने दुख सहे. We were insects, we were birds, we were animals. So much dukh, so much pain. So much pain in every June. But we forget. That's the beauty of how this mind works, how this game works. We go through all these things. Even the present birth, we will not remember. It will be reset. The memory will be reset. And sometimes we will see the dreams and we will see our previous births. Sometimes some people see, oh, lot of birds, lot of snakes, lot of things in the dreams. Because we went through those things. And sometimes in the physical world, we are scared of such certain species. Cockroaches, sometimes even mosquitoes, bees. We are just scared. And maybe we were in that June and we died in a very painful way. Or we were killed by the other species before we came to this human birth. This is a big thing, Guru Pyaryo. That's why the dreams, we'll discuss some other day, the type of the dreams, different dreams. There are different types of dreams. Three, mostly three types. There are many, but high level three types. One is whatever we see in our daily life. You know, ਆਪਾਂ ਖਿਚੜੀ ਕਹਿ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ. It's a mixture of whatever we experience in our daily life, day-to-day life. It can be related to our work. It can be related to our family, present family. It can be something else. It's like a mix. It's like a trail mix. So sometimes it doesn't even make sense what we are seeing because the mind is wandering. Mana jagyani mana sutta hai. Mind is still sleeping. तेही गुनी संसार प्रम सुता, सुत्या रैन विहानी, गुर कृपा ते से जन जागे जिन हर मन वस्या, bole amrit bani. Because the mind is sleeping. That's why we see all these dreams. The mind is not steady. Mind has a lot of thoughts because of the pavan, because of the breath. A lot of thoughts. And that's how it shows up in the dreams also. But sometimes when the mind starts waking up, when your mind goes in the higher state, when you are in a deep sleep sometimes, we see the dreams maybe from the past, of our past lives. That's another kind of dreams. Third kind of dreams are when we go in different mandals, in the different realms. In different mandals, which can be parallel universe. Or when we go to the Devlok, when somebody start listening to the Shabad, they start going to the Devlok. The realm or the dimension where angels are there. Where some, ਅਸੀਂ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਚ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ, ਸੁਰ ਨਰ ਮੁੰਜਨ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਖੋਜਦੇ। ਸੋ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਗੁਰ ਤੇ ਪਾਇਆ, ਪਾਇਆ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਗੁਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕੀਨੀ, ਸੱਚਾ ਮਨ ਵਸਾਇਆ। These angels, Surnar Munjan, these sages and all, the people who did the bhakti of different religion, different faith. Faith doesn't matter because Vaiguruji has no religion. Vaiguruji is not Christian, Vaiguruji is not Muslim, Vaiguruji is not any particular specific faith. Vaiguru is Vaiguru. So different angels from the different worlds we will see. And the last one is when our mind is fully awake, 100% awake, conscious mind, that's a fourth kind, si chotha pad vi keh denne a. And there are no forms. All the other three are still in Maya. Three kinds of dreams, they are still part of the Maya. But the fourth one is when we are merged in Sun, immersed in Sun, when we go to our house. That's why Maharaj says, Jagan te supna pala basiye prab ke sang. That supna, that dream. We'll go in detail some other time, but high level. Lakh churasi जोन प्रम आयो, अब के छूट के ठौर ना ठायो. We were given this human body so that we can get liberated. But we are again stumbling. We are again stumbling. इस पौड़ी ते जो नर चूके, so आए जाएं दुख पाएंदा. Then we can go back in the same cycle of life and birth in 8.4 million species. Lakh churasi joon pram ayo. We were wandering in 8.4 million species, and Maharaj did a kripa and he gave us this physical body, and we are still not finding the rest, finding the contentment. We still have Trishna, lot of desires, because we don't have Naam, we don't have Shabad. If we'll have Naam and Shabad, then the mind will not wander. Kaho Kabir, Paj Sarang Pani. And then this is the time. This is the time you start doing the Bhajan Bandgi of Vaheguru. Start doing the Simran. Just start doing the chanting, start doing the Simran, start going into the Sun. Otherwise, that coming and going will not stop. If somebody will connect, at least we'll get rid of that, the lower forms, right? 84 तो छुट जाएंगे, सिर्फ बंदे दी जून रह जाएगी. कहो कबीर पज सारंग पानी, आवत दीसै जात ना जानी. Remember this thing, Guru Pyare, this is a very important line. Vaheguru Ji is called Ajuni. Vaheguru Ji is called Ajuni. What does that mean? Vaheguru will not come in the forms, physical forms. Vaheguru will accompany us, so that as a guide, as a Satguru, but he will not come in a form. That's why some people get confused about the Sargun Swarup of Vaheguru, right? They say, oh, one side you are saying Vaheguru will not come in the form, but the other side you are saying that Vaheguruji is there in everybody, because that's why Vaheguruji has appointed as part of him. Just like an ocean, we get a boond, we get a drop, that Atam Ram is there in everybody. That doesn't mean that whole ocean is there inside us. Yes, we have an access to the ocean through that drop. That drop is not just an isolated drop, it is a connected drop. Avat disa jat na jani. But when we will do the Simran, when we will merge in the Naam, then we will not come back again. Just like Vaheguru will merge back. The drop will be Sagar mein boond, boond mein Sagar. And then that boond, that drop of the ocean will go back to the ocean. once for all, merge back in the ocean. And that is what our target is. It starts with chanting so that it becomes a Simran, so that we can kill our thoughts. We can get rid of this Pavan. Pavan is needed. Pavan, the breath, is needed for the physical body. But we have to leave this breath and we have to go up. We have to learn how to die. जीवत मरे मरे फिर जीवे ऐसे सुन समाए. हाँ जी गुरु प्यारे, वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह. Any questions?
Viji, I got two questions. One is about yesterday. Yesterday, after the explanation from you, we started the Simran and I took over because you wanted some Sangat member to take over. And I did the Simran for, I don't know, for how many minutes. And then I said Antargat. And by that, I meant कि ਹੁਣ ਆਪਣੇ ਮਨ ਚ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਉੱਚਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਬੋਲ ਰਹੇ. But then within like a few seconds, you started doing it and then Panji took over. So my question is, what mistake did I make? I thought that's what we were supposed to do.
You didn't do any mistake, Panji, but we allocate mostly 10-15 minutes to do the Simran, because the Antargat Simran for a long time on the call is very difficult, right?
Oh,
Yeah, so only for the last minute or so we try to do the Antargat Simran. You didn't do any mistake. You were going all good, but still
okay.
because the time was pending, so I started doing the Simran,
I got it.
right?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for explaining that. Now the other question is, जो तुसी आज the explanation कीता है, I was thinking, of course I still make mistakes. I still do the wrong things, but I am aware of most of the mistakes that I make. ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ time ਤੇ awareness ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗੀ. ਤੇ but with all the awareness, all the trying to correct the mistakes, all the bhajan bandagi and everything, I still don't think I have a chance. you know, क्योंकि this sounds so like in naam simro, bhajan bandagi karo. That is all good, but it, I don't think I have a chance of this salvation thing because I don't do naam bandagi all the time. Like currently, I'm out of work, so I'm looking for work, right? So a lot of time goes for that, and so I don't know. I'm just like sometimes I feel very hopeful, sometimes I feel hopeless.
That's a game, Benji. That's a game. And we have mentioned many times that Maharaj is not telling you to not to work, right? Not to find the work. You're not wasting your swas there. You're not wasting even a single breath there when you're finding work or you're doing work, because that's allowed. There is some swas, if we put in certain padarats, char padarat, four things, if we put our swas there, it is allowed. That one of the padarth is earth, which is basically earth chara. That is studying, working, whether somebody is doing business or whatever, it is allowed. Maharaj is just saying, whenever you are working, just remember Vaheguru, right?
Okay.
Because if we don't remember Vaheguru, then we can do mistakes. Then we can start. The game of the Char Padarth. There is a full lecture there in the videos in the YouTube. You can look into that. But
Okay.
what happens is there are four different things, and each thing is in every guna. We still stay in the Maya. That's why Maharaj is saying, Tinni Viche Maya Paya. Staying in the Maya, we can meet Vaheguru. It's not a different game, a difficult game. It is difficult for those when we say, oh, leave your household, leave your work, leave everything. Maharaj says, no, you don't have to leave anything. This is allowed. Everything is allowed. Work is allowed, eating is allowed, everything is allowed.
Okay.
Okay? ਹਾਂਜੀ
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਭਾਈ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹੋਰ question ਜੀ? Anybody else has a question? Going once, going twice, going thrice. Aao ji. सिमरन करिए जी। वाह गुरु, वाह गुरु। Somebody can do the seva. Anybody can do the seva. Why?
Vaheguru, 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 nere var 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 nere nere अंतर्गत सिमरन वाहिगुरु जी मनी बोले मनी सुने। वाहिगुरु जी हम गुण परे एक गुण नाहीं अमृत छाड़ बिखे बिख खाई माया मोह परम पै फूले सुत दारा स्यो प्रीत लगाई एक उत्तम पंथ सुनियो गुर संगत तह मिलंद जम त्रास मिटाई एक अरदास पाठ कीरत की गुरु रामदास राखो शरनाई एक अरदास पाठ कीरत की गुरु रामदास राखो शरनाई। बोल चुक दी की माँ जी वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा